I'm Connor, and I'm an engineer on the visionOS FaceTime team. I'm excited to introduce you to a new capability that makes sharing and collaboration more powerful than ever before. In visionOS 26, you can share apps and experiences with nearby people in the same space. This makes it possible to watch, listen, or collaborate in your favorite apps on Vision Pro with others around you. In this video, you'll learn how to design and build apps that are meant to be shared with nearby people. I'll start by giving an overview of the feature. Then I'll show you how to use SharePlay to build interactive experiences for people in the same space. Finally, you'll learn how to anchor shared content to the physical space that you're in, using ARKit and shared world anchors. I'll begin by showing you how sharing with nearby people works in visionOS 26. There's a whole new way to share apps that's more intuitive and discoverable than ever before. Every window has a button to the right of the window bar that opens a share menu when tapped. From there, you can select from a list of nearby people and easily start sharing with them. When someone shares, the window appears for everyone exactly where the sharer had placed it in the room. The window bar turns green, telling you that the window is shared with everyone in the same place. This experience creates a shared context, and it's what makes sharing in the same space feel so magical. Since shared windows are in the same place for everyone, it's possible to discuss, point to, and interact with the app like it's really there in the room. The system makes sure that everyone sees the app appear in the same place with the same size. After it appears, anyone is able to move a shared window, and it moves for everyone, while naturally orienting toward the group. You can even resize the app together, or snap it to your shared surroundings. If anyone holds the digital crown to recenter, the app moves back to a good place for everyone. And if someone does point to something or moves their hand over the window, content fades to make sure that person stays visible. This shared context isn't only for people in the same room. One of the most exciting parts of sharing nearby is its deep integration with FaceTime. When you're sharing an app with nearby people, you can start FaceTime to invite, hang out, and collaborate with people who are remote as well. If they join on visionOS, they'll appear in your space as a spatial persona. This unlocks a whole new level of presence that makes it feel like you're all really in the same space together. When someone joins as a spatial persona, the system finds an optimal location to place them alongside the nearby people. Where the system decides to place spatial personas depends on the type of window being shared. For example, if someone joins while a volumetric window is being shared, they fill in any gaps surrounding the volume. The result is a layout that's ideal for both nearby and remote participants. People can also join from any other platform that supports FaceTime, such as iOS or macOS. When they join, their video is shown next to the shared window. This makes it easy to interact with the app and talk to others at the same time. By default, sharing a window starts a view-only experience that works even if others don't have the app. This requires no app adoption. However, to create an interactive experience that people can share in the same space, then adopt SharePlay. SharePlay is a key part of collaboration in FaceTime across Apple platforms. SharePlay apps support real-time interaction, allowing people to watch movies, listen to music, play games, collaborate, and do so much more together. Any existing SharePlay app on visionOS can be shared with nearby people, no changes required. That being said, there are exciting new capabilities in SharePlay that let you design and enhance your app specifically for people in the same space. If you're new to SharePlay, I strongly recommend watching the Build Custom Experiences with Group Activities and Build Spatial SharePlay Experiences videos first. I'm going to expand on concepts introduced in those videos. I'll cover several topics in this section that will help you create a great nearby shared experience. First, I'll go over the importance of exposing a SharePlay activity to the new Share menu, so people can easily start sharing. After that, you'll learn how to enhance experiences for people in the same space by checking for nearby participants, followed by placing content relative to people using nearby participant poses. Then I'll include an example of shared media playback using AV Player to get perfectly in sync nearby shared video and audio. Finally, for apps with multiple windows, I'll walk you through choosing which one you want to be associated with SharePlay. To start, one of the first things you need to do is make your SharePlay activity available in the Share menu. With the introduction of the new Share menu in visionOS 26, sharing apps is easier than ever before. To take full advantage of that, you need to expose a group activity to the Share menu with SwiftUI or UIKit API. Then, when people tap on the Share button, they can activate that group activity and start SharePlay. For volumetric windows, the Share menu is only usable if the app has exposed an activity. As an example, I want to create a SharePlay experience that lets me play board games with my friends when I visit them in person. To start, I've created a simple group activity for my board game app, called Board Game Activity. Group Activities is the framework that powers SharePlay, and defining a group activity is the first step to creating a shared experience. I also set up my game's main scene, with a volumetric window group that shows the board game view. This is a SwiftUI app, so to expose my board game activity to the Share menu, I need to add a share link to my view hierarchy. I pass in my board game activity since that's the one I want to start, and I mark it hidden because I don't actually want it to affect my app's UI. When someone shares an exposed activity from the Share menu, it automatically activates and creates a group session. This works the same way as calling the activate method manually on a group activity. I can retrieve the automatically created group session by observing the sessions on my board game activity. Then, to actually start SharePlay, I configure and join the session that's created. Now people can start sharing my app directly from the Share menu. That covers apps that are windowed or volumetric, but if your shared experience uses an immersive space, then there are extra considerations you'll need to make to ensure the Share menu is always accessible. For example, I want to turn my windowed experience into a full-size board game table placed on the floor of my room, with themed 3D objects around me to make the game feel more real. To do that, I need to put it in an immersive space. But now I have a problem. How do people share my app, since there's no window bar in an immersive space? To solve this, I can offer my own button to let people start sharing without needing to use a window or volume. When someone presses that button, my app calls the activate method on my board game activity. New in visionOS 26, calling activate on an activity automatically prompts the Share menu, even outside of FaceTime. This works with windows and immersive spaces. From there, you can select nearby people or create a new FaceTime session to start sharing directly from your app. An even better way to solve this in my app is to continue offering a non-immersive mode. This way, people can share from the Share menu on the non-immersive window, and then transition into immersive when everyone has joined. Just like before, I need to join the group session to actually start SharePlay. As a reminder, I also need to get the system coordinator from the session and set supports group immersive space to true to make sure my immersive space is shared and in the same place for everyone. Once you've made sure your app can be shared, it's time to consider the best ways to enhance or customize your experience for people in the same space. To do this, you can explicitly check for nearby participants using new SharePlay API. This is especially important if people start FaceTime while sharing nearby. For my board game app, I want to let people in the same space play against anyone joining from FaceTime. I'll check which participants are physically together and proactively suggest those nearby people as teammates. To do this, I need to know which participants are nearby and which participants are remote. I start with my group session that I joined earlier. To get information about the participants in that session, I observe the active participants publisher on the group session. From that participant state, I check the new is nearby with local participant property. This will be true if the participant is nearby with me. I exclude the local participant from this check, since I only care which other participants are nearby. With that, I can make it so that the nearby participants are on the same team and can play against the remote people. To create a great experience for people in the same space, you should also consider where nearby people are located relative to your app, in case you want to place content next to or facing toward them. New SharePlay API tells you exactly where people are placed when sharing starts. Here's an example. I've been assuming so far that nearby people share the app when they're directly in front of it. In reality, nearby people can be anywhere in space when an app is shared. Apps share in place, so they won't automatically move between people when sharing starts. This is especially important to know for immersive space apps, as you may want to place content close to where the participants are, not just at the origin of the immersive space. In this specific example, I want to show a scorecard to each nearby person in my immersive board game app. To do this, I would first have to know where the nearby participants are relative to my immersive space scene. You can get this information from a new pose property on participant state. Just like before, I start with the group session that I joined earlier. To get information about the local participant, I access the system coordinator on the session, and then observe the local participant state's async sequence on the system coordinator. Once I have the local participant state, I can read the new pose property on that state, which tells me where the local participant is placed relative to the immersive space scene. The pose property does not track a participant's location in real time, but it does update after key events, like when sharing starts or after someone holds the digital crown to recenter. Once I know the local participant pose, I compute where to place the scorecard relative to each participant, so that it appears right next to them. In addition to a participant's actual pose, you can get their seat pose, which is at a fixed physical location relative to the app. To learn more about seat poses and customizing seat arrangements with spatial templates, I recommend watching the Customized Spatial Persona Templates in SharePlay video. Using the information from that video, I can read seat poses to do something even more advanced in my app, and prompt people to move into their actual seats around the table. This tells them the best place to stand to enjoy my app's content. If your app already uses seat poses, consider migrating to participant poses if you want to place content where people are already located in space. Next, if your experience involves shared video or audio, AV Player has been upgraded in visionOS 26 to coordinate playback for people in the same space. Bringing shared media into the same space creates a unique set of challenges, specifically because people are physically close to each other. When you share media with people nearby, you may hear audio coming from other participants' devices. This makes even small audio delays noticeable and disruptive to all nearby participants. That's why it's critical that everyone sees and hears the same thing at the same time. New in visionOS 26, AV Player and AV Playback Coordinator will precisely sync audio and video playback for people in the same space. To demonstrate this, I want to add a new instructional video feature to my board game app. People can open a shared video at any time to learn how to play the game. Everyone should see and hear this video play at the exact same time. When the video is done, players can go back and apply what they just learned to play the game. In my app, I'll create an AV Playback Coordinator and set it up with my group session. By doing this, I can trust that playback is precisely synced for people in the same space. In my app, that means everyone can see and hear the instructional video play at the same time, with no echo or delay. To learn how to set up an AV Playback Coordinator for SharePlay, I recommend watching the Coordinate Media Experiences with Group Activities video. If you're new to building media apps for visionOS, I also suggest watching the Create a Great Spatial Playback Experience video. Now the audio and video are perfectly in sync in my app. However, the addition of the instructional video window created a new problem I need to solve. My app now has multiple window groups open at the same time: the board game volumetric window and the instructional video window. To support this, I have to be more explicit about which one I want to be shared while they're both open. New SharePlay API in visionOS 26 lets me use a view modifier to choose exactly which window group I want to be associated with SharePlay at any given time. This unlocks a whole new level of control for apps that support multiple windows. Here I have my app's board game window group from before. To add my new instructional video, I'll create a second window group to host the video view. Then, I can add the new Group Activity Association View modifier to a view in that window group. By passing in primary to the Group Activity Association, I'm telling the system that I want this window to be the shared window while it's open. Now, my board game app can switch to a shared video that's perfectly in sync, and then back to the board game when everyone's ready to play. I'm excited to see how you will take advantage of these improvements to create amazing social experiences. This truly is the best time to adopt SharePlay. But group activities isn't the only framework with new API designed for sharing with nearby people. ARKit also has changes in visionOS 26 that allows people to anchor shared content in the same physical location using shared world anchors. Before I go there, I'm going to review some key concepts for immersive spaces and regular world anchors. If your app uses an immersive space, you can freely place content anywhere in a person's room. This is great for presenting something around a person, but an immersive space is not guaranteed to stay in the same physical location. For example, if someone moves and holds the digital crown to recenter, the entire immersive space adjusts. This works for many use cases, but it can be a problem if you want your content to stay fixed in physical space over time. ARKit offers a solution to this problem with world anchors. World anchors allow apps to place content at fixed physical locations in a person's space. The system makes sure that this content always stays precisely anchored to that same location over time, even if someone holds the digital crown to recenter. Imagine an app that wants to let people place virtual furniture in their real world to help them create a floor plan or just experiment with new designs. For an app like this, it's incredibly important that the furniture stays at the same physical location and doesn't drift over time. To build this app, I need to be able to place content at a specific location relative to the origin of my immersive space, and then use a world anchor to make sure it stays there. First, I set up with an ARKit session and a world tracking provider, then run the world tracking provider on the session. When I want to add a new anchor for my furniture app, I'll create a world anchor at a specific transform for the furniture in the immersive space, and add it to the world tracking provider. Finally, I listen to updates on the world tracking provider's anchor update sequence, which will be called when my new anchor is successfully added. Then I can put my furniture model under the anchor, and I'm done. Now that people in the same physical space can share apps, world anchors are more important than ever. When you're sharing with someone nearby, the room is part of your shared context. World anchors make it possible to take advantage of the space as a shared context. To place shared content in a specific physical location while sharing, apps should use new API to mark anchors as shared with nearby participants. During a SharePlay session, this API allows apps to create a world anchor that's automatically shared with participants who are nearby, and only with nearby participants. You can only create shared anchors while SharePlay is active, and they do not persist after sharing ends, unlike regular world anchors. I'll adopt this in my furniture planning app from earlier. Now, if any person adds a piece of furniture to the room, I want all nearby participants to see that furniture appear. This will really make it feel like we're collaboratively designing a room together. First, I need to make sure that shared world anchors are available before I try to create one. I observe the new world anchor sharing availability on my world tracking provider. When this becomes available, I know my app is actively shared with people nearby, and I can create a shared world anchor. From there, creating a shared world anchor is very similar to creating a regular world anchor. For the person adding the furniture, I pass in shared with nearby participants as true when creating the world anchor. Then, on all the nearby participants' world tracking providers, I receive the new shared anchor from the anchor updates sequence, and it has the exact same identifier across everyone's devices. You can read and sync this identifier to make sure that the app knows what content to associate with the anchor on each device. Shared world anchors can also be used in business apps, using your own networking layer outside of SharePlay. If you're building a spatial business app that you want to share with people nearby, then watch the Explore Enhancements to Your Spatial Business App video to learn more. Sharing with nearby people is all about enjoying content in the same room with others. And with shared world anchors, you'll be able to create experiences that fully leverage the space people are in together. After watching this video, start by thinking about how your app could best support interactive shared experiences using SharePlay. How can people engage with your app's content together? Once you've adopted SharePlay, make sure anyone can easily start sharing your app by supporting the new Share menu. This is your chance to put your shared experience front and center, discoverable directly from System UI. Then think about how you can design your experience for people both near and far on any supported platform. Remember that sharing supports nearby and remote participants. Your app can now connect people in the same room with others across the world, so make sure you consider all these possibilities. And finally, create experiences that take advantage of physical space. Use world anchors to make your virtual content feel more present and interactive within someone's actual room. When you combine all of this, the possibilities are endless. You can have collaborative whiteboard sessions on your physical wall, play immersive games in your living room, or transform your space into a theater for a movie night with friends. The ability to share experiences nearby is a powerful new way to connect and collaborate with people around you. I hope you'll create experiences that make people feel more together while they're together.